Hello, hello! Aren't you guys so excited to see where I'm like, which way is the camera? This person.
You were so close the first time.
You guys, Jenna Sackett is back on the podcast. We are doing a podcast today, and I am so excited. It has been way too long since we have been on the same screen for a live, and today is going to be a lot of fun. We are talking all things activations and experiences. Over the last couple of years, Jenna has really transformed small areas at shows to create these incredible experiences and really show the power of heat printing. And instead of just making it about decorating shirts, it's bringing in an entire theme, vibe to the area. We really highlight the partners that we collaborate with, and today's session is breaking it all down. So you know the name of the game. Tell us who you are in the comments, your business name, and of course where you are tuning in from. Jenna, hi.
Hey,
Welcome.
you just did an amazing job with that intro. Hats off to you.
Oh, thank you. I feel like I've done it.
You're
like
just
50 times now.
thriving. You're thriving in the podcast space.
Oh man, well, it's fun times when you do it just over and over and over again. But okay,
sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm
No.
super excited to be here. I might be more excited than anybody else that I'm here because I haven't done this in a while. And a while to me is probably only like a few months, but it feels like it's been forever. So I'm so excited that you asked me to join.
So tell, because people haven't really seen you live in a while, tell the people what has been going on with you, because your role has changed a little bit. So let them know like where you are in the world of heat printing.
Well, I'm still here. I'm still present. It's a little bit more behind the scenes as far as, at stalls goes, but still heavily involved in the industry, still with stalls. I'm just taking on a more specific approach to some of our clients that, do a lot of business with us and just kind of need that point in the company to talk to and discuss jobs with. So I moved to a commercial sales executive role. And it's been great being able to get hands-on with clients again, especially in this, atmosphere where it's a little bit more down and dirty. We're getting some crazy jobs, doing some unique things. So I'm seeing a side of the industry that I haven't really got to be a part of before. So it's been super exciting. And then, of course, I'm still managing, the partnerships that we have with all of our fellow industry blank apparel manufacturers and distributors. So things are going really well there. And it's just kind of been a really great, marriage between the two because I get to work with my partners with clients a lot of the time as well.
So one thing I think Jenna is being like calm, or I don't know, like small on, is the fact that the customers that she works with, she really gets to think outside of the box and find unique applications, find ways to really help them have their products stand out. So it's not necessarily needing like the fastest transfer or the fastest way to decorate something. It's really diving deep into trends, staying ahead of what is next, right? And so you do that.
Yeah, well, what's crazy is you and I were always very passionate about talking trends and getting that out in front of people, whether that's through video or through our seminars at trade shows. And now my customers are doing that with me. They're like, hey, here's what we got coming through the pipeline. We're working with this artist or this athlete for their NIL stores, and here's what the trend is, this is what they want to do. And it's like, wow, like this is really cool. And I'm glad that we have the product that speaks directly to this market or this person. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm learning a lot of new things. It's definitely not short of its challenges, as any new role or any new position can be. So, for those of you that, want to cross their fingers, send a prayer. Love that. It's greatly appreciated because it's still a lot, but it's fun nonetheless.
It's one of those like virtual high fives. Like, here you go. Good job. So for those of you that are joining us live, whether it's on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, know that this is the time that you can ask questions. So as we dive into really how to formulate a plan, everything you should know, struggles, right? Because there's always going to be struggles. Ask those questions. Now's a great time to really get a different perspective or at least some guidance from Jenna or myself. So let's run and talk about these activations. So for those of you, if you are like, what the heck is an activation? I know a couple of years ago, I was that person that said, excuse me, what are we activating? What is happening? So in a quick roundabout way, Jenna, what is an activation?
I would describe it as an interactive customization station.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
We need that in big LED lights.
Right? It is literally an experience at your fingertips right there. You are getting out in front of a consumer with apparel and printing on demand right in front of them with a heat press. But you're not just doing that. It's about the whole experience, it's about the story you're telling. It allows for collaboration with your customer, which we have done very well. And it allows for that unique brand awareness, because when people walk away from this experience that you're providing for them, they're going to remember that. They're not just going and grabbing a t-shirt to remember whatever event they might be at. They're now becoming a part of the creation or the ideation behind it. And they're more likely to remember the brand that did that for them and created this unique experience.
Now, would you say that in activation, so like whenever I think about it, it's somebody is printing at events. That's a little different than an activation, because printing at events is sometimes you popping up, you having select product that ties into sports or really kind of customization, instead of having product ready to pull and sell. You're making it right there for that specific person. I look at it as an activation as really an experience. So you've got decor, you've got a theme. It's not just product to wear. It's the minute you see the booth or you see the area, you walk into it, whether you're making your shirt or somebody else's, but it's this whole feel. It's a vibe versus.
That's like a great way to put it. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It is a vibe that is really dedicated to the space that it's being brought into, right? And creating something that's a little bit more unique. And again, like you said, an experience. That is what an activation is. And not only is it printing on site, you're right, it is very different because it's going to be more tailored specifically to this event that's going on. So if you will, imagine with me for a moment, let's step outside of the industry. Let's say that we are going to, one of our favorite stores, right? One of our favorite, like, let's say we're going to Levi, right? And we're going to get our favorite a new jean jacket or a new pair of jeans, right? Whatever it may be, we're going to the store and they are having this big like blowout because it's like an anniversary of theirs or something. So first, let's think important event. How can I work with a client to make this very important event even more of an experience for their consumer, right? So if I go to Levi's, I'm like, okay, cool, like you guys are doing this cool event, but it's going to, you want to think outside of the box with it. What is going to make them not only remember that brand, but want to keep buying from them? And it really boils down to how you can get involved with that consumer and create that unique thing. And so what a lot of people will do is hire a unique artist or something that someone is doing that's different than everybody else, right? So I have seen a lot of artists that are branding denim. whether that's through embroidery, painting, right? Fabric paint. And putting a unique spin on a brand's logo and adding it to that jacket, right? So it's just something that's like totally different from on-site printing because it is tailored specifically to a customer's event, right? So that's really what an activation is that separates it from just on-site printing. It's something a little bit more fun, exciting, outside of the box, not your norm.
That's like icing on the cake on the way to describe that. Like for me, it's one of those things where you can be both, right? You can be somebody that's in events, offer activations, offer on-site decoration, and offer team stores on site. And to me, all three of those are kind of different categories. It really just depends on who you're working with. Are you taking, is somebody paying you to be there, or are you there to capture money yourself? So it's really kind of two different types of perspectives. If you are in events and you are trying to look and find different ways, maybe you're already doing activations, you just don't realize the other opportunity with inside of that. So when it comes to really deciding where to start, how do you come up with the theme, or like what is something that you kind of run with that helps you build the entire plan?
For me specifically, and now I'm obviously on a different side of it, right? Where I'm, trying to get the Stalls brand shed light on it in a unique way so that people can understand that there's a lot that you can do with just a heat press, right? And so that's why folks with a heat press are at such an advantage when it comes to this and working with their customers. So it's really all collaborative. So whenever we go to trade shows, I'm thinking about, okay, what's the location that show is taking place, right? So that's the event. Then we're thinking, okay, what is a common theme with that city or that place? So whenever we did Atlantic City, I immediately think of the music scene there because there are some pretty popular artists that originated from Atlantic City. And so I'm thinking, okay, what's a cool way that we can kind of bring heat print on demand and activations to light with music? And I was scratching my head for a while, I won't lie. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but we'll figure it out. And then I happened to go to a coffee shop here in Austin, and it was also a vinyl like record store. So they had combined coffee and music. And I was like, this is brilliant. And they had like records everywhere that you could choose from, and the record like player like station was just open. Like you could go and pick a record and go and put it on, play it yourself. And it drew in a lot of people for that reason. Not only did they have phenomenal coffee, I had probably like 3 coffees while I was there. And I was just like hanging out with some friends, just chit-chatting, right? And I was like, wow, I've had 3 coffees. We're listening to some great music. This has been an amazing experience. I'm going to come back here. And that's why I was like, when Monday rolled around, right after the weekend, I was like, that's what we're going to do. I remember this place. I'm a lover of music. A lot of people are. Music is like the one thing that brings a lot of people together.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this is going to be perfect for an activation in Atlantic City. So that's what we did. We did a record shop, and we collaborated with 2 folks in the industry that are very well known. By folks, I mean companies. But Lane 7 ended up donating the fleece and the t-shirts. They absolutely loved the idea. And then Culture Studio, who is very well known for print and design in the music industry, did our designs for us. So it not only, and Culture Studio also is a customer of ours. It's somebody who I work with them a lot for projects that they have coming up whenever they're working with Live Nation and things like that, or specific artists that need to do tour merch. So I was able to collaborate, and collaborative efforts are really exciting because you're getting perspective from different teams. and it gets them involved in something that you're doing that you guys usually don't really cross on, right? I'm usually to them viewed as, oh, that's the person I go to for help for heat transfers, right?
Yeah.
But
Yep.
instead, we created this whole other like thing, and now we're like, okay, what else can we do? And then it became this whole other opportunity, right? Where now I'm looking at opportunity working with Culture Studio at South by Southwest next year in Austin. South by Southwest, sorry about that, in Austin, in 2024. So like, you never know where these things can lead. But that feeling of being a part of something as a customer makes them want to keep doing business with you. And I think that that's like the big picture here is you're creating an experience not just for the end user, consumer, but you're creating the experience of this really fun thing that you can do with heat printing for your customer. And so you never know where it can lead. It was a lot of fun. But these activations drew in a lot of people at the show because when you go to a trade show, you usually are like hopping from booth to booth,
Yeah.
either learning or having very serious conversations. And then there's this fun little booth over here that's like, hey, you want to come listen to some music and check out the records and get a free t-shirt and a free hoodie? Come on over.
And I think that's like the biggest thing is, so if somebody is looking at this from a perspective of, okay, how can I make money off of this as a decorator? And yes, the biggest thing is making sure that your time is paid for. But if you are in, like, I love the Levi's example because that's so easy to relate with. Even if you're not a denim jacket wearer, then you can still choose somebody out in retail or at least a, specific sports store that doesn't do customization. The consumer is buying that product and then coming to you for that decoration. So either the person that has hired you, so the company, the retail brand, wherever you're at, they could pay for the materials and they could pay for your time. But the cool thing that I love is that there's no investment in blanks ahead of time from a decorator standpoint, wondering what is going to sell or what is going to move. What am I going to be stuck with, as extra merch? Because now you've worked with that retailer on whom you're doing the activation for. So keep that in mind as a decorator, that this isn't necessarily something we're saying you've got to sponsor, 200 sweatshirts. You've got to sponsor all the decoration. You've got to sponsor your time. Utilize the resources, the people around you to get that collaboration effect. That way it is the most cost effective, but then you're also getting that publicity, you're getting that marketing, and you're making money because right? We have a business to make money. Our situation is a little different because we're trying to raise awareness in the heat printing industry, but then we're also tying in collaborations of the blank wholesale providers. I butcher that every single time. Every time. I can never say what they are, but a blank apparel manufacturers. And then, of course, in this particular situation, if you don't have the design capabilities, that's why we partnered with Culture Studio, is because this is their lane and they knew exactly how to bring it to life.
Yeah, collaborating goes a long way. And if I had a suggestion for anybody that's thinking about doing an activation, pick your like favorite business that you love working with, right? If it's a coffee shop, somebody had mentioned a bar earlier. If they're doing an
For
event
sure.
and getting their brand out there, if you love working with them, you're going to have so much fun doing it.
Yeah.
So you guys can collaborate, talk price, talk product. Don't forget electric.
Yeah.
Always want to make sure, right, you have the right electric. But these heat presses, if it's a clam, if it's a 360 IQ, they're very easy setup. They're very easy travel equipment. So definitely, you got a heat press and you're already a step ahead because you can offer something unique that a lot of other printers might not even be thinking about doing. And events and experiences are important. the more I talk to customers or even just friends, just socially, anybody that is doing something unique that they can go and tell their friend, hey, look at this cool thing. I've never seen this done before. They love that. They want that unique experience that they can't just get anywhere. It also adds exclusivity. There
Yeah.
we go. Do it. Right. You are now offering a product that's on demand, because if I go to let's say it's a concert and I get the standard t-shirt that everybody else is going, but then there's this booth over here that's like, hey, you want to pick out a design and pick out a product? You want to put it on a bandana? Do you want to put it on a tote bag? We've only got 200. First come, first serve. Like, if you don't want to do more than 200, don't do more than 200. That's the beauty of activations, is that it's this unique experience. And if you get to be a part of it, you get to be a part of it. If we're sold out by the time you get there, we're sorry. Right?
Yep.
So, take that into consideration. If you're wondering about how many blanks and stuff, get a good idea of what, the, registration looks like, I guess. But you don't have to meet that number either. That way you're not stuck with those blanks. It's about exclusivity. It's about that experience that if you don't get a chance to see it, too bad. Maybe next time, follow me and see what next event I'm going to be doing an activation at. And then, they stick with it. So it's definitely a unique thing. But if you're looking for that additional revenue stream, or that one thing that you can offer that's different, that your customer will remember, then this is it.
Yeah. And it's so cool. Like you said, it's you are creating that experience, but then it's also creating that need, like, oh my gosh, I've got to have it. There's only 200 and I know that this is important to me, or I know this is going to be like the coolest thing ever. As crazy as Taylor Swift was, right? Like, the tickets went lightning fast, but then her merch went lightning fast. So imagine if there would have been something that would have allowed people to customize something, or, instead of, maybe if you bought a hoodie or product, there was this other secret location that had specific merch that only a small amount of people could get per concert, right? Like, it's just kind of taking something and then developing it into something more. When it comes to the vibe and the feel, like, the record shop was so cool. There was a rug, there was a vinyl display, there was, I'm going to call it shelving, but shelving is not the correct word, on the floor, that had the decorated garments in there to make it look like people were flipping through records. What, like, how do you get your inspiration? How do you source those products? Because that whole thing was like, you actually made a record store, but out of very minimal material or products or decor.
Yeah, I did a lot of research prior to, right? I even asked you for help. I don't know if you remember, but I was like, hey, Kelly, what do you think about this record shop idea? Do you have any ideas? And I remember you throwing over some images that you thought were pretty cool. And that went a lot into the inspiration as well. Be open-minded, right? I don't know anything about record shops. I know I like music, but that's it, right? But this is about just creating this one-time thing. So we worked with a team. I will say that this isn't something that I just did all on my own. And this team helped find the right structures we needed. They were able to source some of the rented vinyl, and then like signage and stuff. And then I ended up going to Target and getting some props, because I just feel like we needed to sprinkle a little bit of something extra in there, because we were on the trade show floor, so we needed to add a little bit. Get that good record store energy flowing. So I definitely had a team, but it was really about the research that goes into it. This is homework. This is, okay, I have some downtime. I need to think about how I'm going to really create this feeling of I'm walking into a booth but I feel like I'm at a record store. That's what you want to happen. You want to create this feeling that they're in a space that they wouldn't expect to be in where they're at.
Yeah.
So we were able to achieve that. Pinterest was like a lifesaver. I just looked up like record stores and kind of got some design aesthetic from what people were posting. And then, of course, a lot of the aesthetic that I kind of based a lot of my purchases off of was that record store coffee shop. Because I was there taking so many pictures because it was just so cool. I was like, I got to show my friends. I got to put this on Instagram and tag them, right? Maybe get a free coffee because I tagged them. You never know.
Coffee for a month, not just one.
Yeah, but social media, Pinterest, doing research, figuring out what's really going to bring it to life. I will say our team, and I'm going to shout them out, Rogers. They are known for building booth structures, but they have a team over there. I was working with Danielle and Karen, and they actually like put together the record crates. They got plywood.
That's the word.
And put those together to make that experience come to life. And I can't thank them enough, because if it wasn't for them, it probably wouldn't have been, you know, that feel and vibe of a record store if it wasn't, if that didn't happen. So they really created that like grunge record shop look, and I added some props and then worked with Lane 7 and Culture Studio to bring the other stuff to life. But it's about knowing people and getting their help where you can. And then, you know, doing them the service of saying, hey, I'm going to make sure that, you know, I'm promoting you for doing this, getting awareness for your brand, for helping me with this. It really is an all around collaboration. You want to bring in as many, well, not as many. We don't want too many hands in the pot, right? But you want to get help where you can, where you might not have expertise on, and utilize that and thank them in a way that sheds a little light on what they did for you to your customers, so people know that they can go to them for other things too.
I think it's also a really good time to bring in maybe influencers or micro influencers in that specific channel or market, industry, whatever you want to call it. Because then if you are really looking at how many people can view what you're doing at a particular time, it's all, like you said, it's all about utilizing what is around you. So you have to make those connections, you have to build those relationships. And that's something that you've done so well, that you did have Lane 7 that was willing to sponsor product. And because you blew through the product so quickly, they got more product there. So, you know, they got to see the return on just how people loved what you were doing, and the need for, you know, their materials. And then you were able to work with Culture Studio, which gave them not a boost, because they don't necessarily need a boost, but it gave a whole other industry perspective on really what you can do, or what, you know, Culture Studio is doing in terms of you know, their market that they go after. But you know, even if you're a person looking to do activations, and you're like, I know no one, I guarantee you that there's somebody that you know that knows how to build things. You just have to ask. You know, I guarantee you there's somebody that probably has graphic design experience that would be excited to do something. And then if not, that's the perfect way you reach out and you connect with people and be social, and, you know, find those connections, and then go to those businesses and say, hey, I would love to be able to do this for you. Here's what I'm thinking. And you may not get paid for the first couple, but find a way to where you're not out money, that it is a marketing expense as well for you.
Yeah, I would say definitely do what you can to get the return. You want at some point for customers to come to you and say, hey, I saw what you did with that business. I need you to do that for hours. How much do I pay you to come and set up and create this really cool experience for my event?
Yeah.
So you know, make sure you're getting paid.
Yeah, for sure. The pay is goal. But like you said, sometimes it takes people to see what's going on in order to go, what do you charge? How much do you want for that? Because
And this isn't it. And this is a thing that people will expect to spend on, right? So I would say if you are in a pretty decent, like populated area, I am blessed to live in Austin and have all these things constantly going on. But you know, not everywhere is like that. A lot of us are not in places where there's always something going on. So that's what I'm saying. If you just need that additional like revenue stream, and something that's going to set you apart, then, you know, put together, you know, maybe you're building awareness around it right now. So work with a local business that is willing to help set that up, and get the first one going so that you can get it on social media or whatever you're doing to advertise your business wherever that lives. But yeah, definitely, you know, it's just that extra thing. Everybody wants unique brand awareness. And some people don't know how to bring that to the table. They're just, you know, busy. Sometimes we're just so busy at like getting orders done that we're not thinking about what else that we can be doing to get bigger business and bigger opportunity. So, you know, that's why I said homework.
Homework, lots of homework, lots of homework. What are some of the, you know, obstacles that you've encountered from planning, execution, day of event? Just because, you know, everything's not rainbows and butterflies, and with on-site, there can always be, you know, there's always room for error at some point. So what are some of the things that you've kind of experienced and how you transitioned from those?
I would say one of the first hiccups that I had was, you know, the event space not realizing the expectation of what we were trying to do. So now that we have a few under our belts, we can come to, you know, the table and say, I need this, this, and this space, electrical, tables, whatever it is that I need to set up. And then coordinating that with whoever you're getting additional help from, right? In Fort Worth, we did a really great activation in the lobby, and it was just kind of this Western theme. So we ended up getting a party planner to come do a really big, like, cow balloon arch. Yeah.
So cool. It was so cool.
It was great. And it was staged for people to, you know, get a t-shirt, go to the selfie station. Here's your props. Here's this really cool backdrop. Tag us. Thanks. You know, so there was a lot to it, but it's really prepping where you're going so that they're ready to get whatever is being shipped in to the right area, make sure electric is laid. Now that, you know, we have expectations and we're working with the same people over and over again now, it's just kind of like, okay, got it, we're good. But that was like the first hurdle. The second hurdle, and this is always going to be a hurdle for me, is just organization. Just making sure like things are done on the right date at the right time to get there and be ready to go. Sometimes, you know, you don't.
We all have our strengths.
You feel like everything's gonna work out just fine, and then there's always that one thing that just doesn't work out. So it's always good to have a backup.
Oh, that's another good plan.
Yeah. So I wanted to feature one of Stahl's new products, Pro Stitch, at a more recent event in Newport Beach, and they were able to get it done, but the way it was facilitated, it got shipped to the wrong address. And so it was just a small thing that we overlooked, but luckily we were able to fall back onto Sim Stitch and still feature something similar. But thank God we had that option, right? Because if we didn't, then we wouldn't have had an activation. We would have been there and been like, here's our heat presses. What do you think?
Yep, that's I think like you said, it's the research, the time involved, knowing and having a plan. You're not going into this willy-nilly, right? Like you've got to be to the T, dot your I's, cross your T's kind of type of planning, but then to also have a backup. So make sure you have a backup press. If you're cutting on site, make sure you have a backup cutter, because I've been in a situation for an activation where the cutter was messing up and I spent 3 hours troubleshooting. And, my backup plan was like, all right, I'm driving an hour home to go get my press, bringing it in.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was so intense, but we got it done. It was fine. Everything got caught up. But making sure that you have that ability to think on your feet if something starts to tumble or go south, because you can't panic. You have to plan and find a solution. And you constant. It's like, okay, here. At the end of the
never quoted Ross from Friends from the pivot scene more than I have since I started doing activations.
That's all I say. I feel like I'm yelling it like Ross, like that's my life. That's my
comments coming in. Thank you, Andy. So Andy was there at Printing United, got to see the record store.
He said the record store looked amazing.
Hi, Kane. Hello, Starbies gang.
I love it. Okay, if you guys have any questions, pop those in. We are getting ready to wrap up. And there's Steve.
Hey, Steve.
I think it's supposed to be HTV Dream Team, but it's HTVD Dream Team. Thanks, Steve.
That's okay. We get it.
So to wrap it up, what is some of the biggest things that you would recommend, kind of a checklist for people that have never done something like this before?
Yeah. Don't try to take on too much by yourself. We're all kind of accustomed to that, right? We are all a little bit, self-sufficient. I can do it myself. It's better if I just do it. Lean on your team, lean on employees, lean on the customer that you're collaborating with. The more everybody feels like they're a part of it and feel excited about it, the more that things are just going to come to life and be fun along the way, right? This is a journey. If this is something that you want to do, if you have that in you to just be like, I want to be at events, I want to get people excited about what I'm doing, about my business, then this is it. So don't take it on yourself, lean on your team. That is the best advice that I can give. And then of course, have your checklists. We talked a lot about, making sure the event space is set up correctly, making sure electric is there. And don't be afraid to get creative. Don't be afraid to do something nobody's done before. If you know the customer type that you're getting ready to be in front of, think about something a little bit outside of the norm that they would typically see. Like whenever we go to trade shows, we don't typically see a record shop, right? When I go get coffee, I don't typically see records, right? So it's kind of thinking a little bit outside the box, and we're all creatives here, right? That's why we're in this industry. So don't be afraid to get creative. Even pull ideas from big brands that are doing huge activations for festivals, right? Kelly saw a couple layouts that I pulled from Bumble of all companies, where they did an activation at Coachella, and it was just really cool because it wasn't something that you would expect to see at Coachella, right? Yep. So there's a lot of brands that are doing this very, very well, that could easily be translated into this space. So if this is something you want to do, we're here to help you along the way, give you best practices, what to do, what not to do, learn from our mistakes. And then, if you don't want our help, that's fine too. You just want to do it all on your own. I praise you. Good job.
Go girl.
That's okay.
Boy. Whatever. Darren asked, where can we view pictures from activations? So social media, hands down. I know you can go to Jenna's handle on Instagram and see her personal business page. You can go to Stall's Heat Printing or Stall's Heat Print. Transfer Express, I know, has been sharing as well. I've started to share as much as possible. And it's really just, we almost need to kind of create like an album of, everything that we've done. Because I think we're getting inspiration from other people. And we always try to give anybody that is following or joining us or customers inspiration as well. So and Darren asked, who can I contact for help? Jenna.
I can help.
For those of you that are listening to the podcast, Jenna just she popped back. And
Oh
then
yeah, sorry. I keep forgetting that this isn't just video. I apologize. Yes, you can contact me. I think what would benefit a lot of folks that want to start doing this is connecting with businesses, custom apparel businesses that are doing this already and doing it successfully. That's who I leaned on, right? I collabed with Culture Studio for a reason. It was for my benefit. It helped me get product out there in a unique way. But I also was able to ask them a lot of questions about activations they have done previously. So I'm more than happy to connect you with other businesses that are doing well with this so that you can ask them firsthand, what do you deal with? What are the logistics of all of this for you? What's that look like? Can you give me a behind the scenes, description of what that is? And that will go a long way. I can help you with a lot, but being able to connect with someone that's doing it in that light is going to go a little bit further than where I can take you.
The other thing that I would say is that, there's always a plug for the Heat Press for Profit group on Facebook. And that is another perfect spot to go in and ask the question, because you just really never know who is already around you or in this community that would love the opportunity to be able to collab, whether or not they could be there, but maybe there's somebody that's great at artwork and they would love to have their name, tied to this. Or tied to whatever you're doing. So we always hit on community and brand awareness. So use the Heat Press for Profit Facebook group. I always want to say just like the Heat Press for Profit group, but it's on Facebook. It's not on LinkedIn. It's not on Instagram. So go in there. So if you're tuning in and you're not in that group, go join it. And then last but not least, Carly did post the link to the Instagram reel that we did for the record shop. Last question is, what transfer was used for the record store?
I'll give you one guess.
Full color.
Of course, it was the Ultra Color Max direct to film transfer. We wanted to do photorealism, tiny detail, and multiple color and a lot of shading, a lot of contrast. So we knew that was definitely the product to use. We're able to get that out of that transfer without it feeling super heavy on the garment. And it does lend a hand to Lane 7 because they do have an amazing cotton tee and cotton faced hoodie that just pairs so nicely with direct to film. So we knew it was just like that perfect combination. I did see one more question before we head out, Darren. If you need to get in contact with me, the easiest is to DM us through here or through the Heat Press for Profit. And I'm sure someone there can, help you or either share my email with you there. So.
I'll also say, if there's somebody that you work with directly at Stall's that, is in your territory, or there's somebody in customer service that you just have that relationship, you'd be surprised how many people as a whole we actually know in and out of the industry. So it's really kind of interesting and phenomenal because we're able to kind of all put our minds together and figure out who we know, who knows in what market, what category. So ask those questions. That's one of the best things that I can say is ask those questions to the person you're going to work with, ask those questions to the people around you, and then ask those questions to yourself about what you're really capable of doing realistically. Like Jenna said, don't think you can just, don't open a can of worms. Keep it small. 2 worms only.
2 worms only.
2 worms only. And I'll answer this one really quick. Does Stalls offer gang sheets for Ultra Color Max? So yes, they do. But the cool thing is Ultra Color Max is a 1-piece minimum. So if you don't need to gang, don't gang. Just order however many logos that you need individually. If you need 4 of one, 6 of another, 20 of another, don't try to fit that all on a gang sheet. Also, because Ultra Color Max is paid, or the cost is by square inch, if there is any open space on that gang sheet, you're paying for that space. So you can gang. There's no wrong way to do that, but just know you can do individual logos because there's 1-piece minimums. Jenna, thanks so much for taking time out of your Friday. This was such an incredible conversation on multiple levels. And we're going to be doing this more for 2024, guys. She's popping back in.
Yeah, I would love to pop back in more. Thank you so much for having me. I absolutely love this topic. As you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about it. So guys, yeah, we're here for you. If this is something that you're really interested in, definitely reach out. We're happy to point you in the right direction, get you in contact with the right people. And of course, I'm here to, cheer you on along the way, because, we need that sometimes. And if you have a heat press, you're very capable of doing stuff like this. So don't be afraid to try something new and, build that awareness around your brand too.
All right. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the show where we launch a new episode every week. This podcast is designed to have conversations with apparel decorators just like you and industry experts that can have an impact on your business. You guys, thanks for tuning in live with us. And of course, we will not see you next Friday because it's the day after Thanksgiving. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving and an even better weekend. And I'll see you in December. Bye, guys.
Bye.